Hey, we're back at Det 2-4. This is the Skunk Works of Air Force pilot training. So Det 2-4 is at Randolph Air Force Base, located in San Antonio, Texas. They are the innovation engine of Air Force pilot training. Basically what happens is these guys bring in non-traditional solutions to make pilot training more efficient and effective. Their commander, Motor Riley, a former F-16 pilot and Thunderbird pilot, was able to give us a tour and explain what they're doing.
All right, so what you're looking at here are the scaled units, basically the immersive training devices that we started with, a few years ago, just commercially off-the-shelf stuff, morphed into, after a few years of using it and learning lessons learned, into what's actually going out to our undergraduate pilot training bases right now. Where I see this going is as this becomes more usable for more people, more different skill sets, you can start adding in different job titles. So if someone's actually training to be an air traffic controller and someone's actually doing pilot training, why can't we mirror certain times or like sessions to where you've got two people doing learning for different jobs together in the same space?
And so just a few years ago, these were built out of wood pallets, right? So talk to me about the evolution from that.
So right over there, those are prototypes. Those are working prototypes in the background there. And those are exactly what we talked about. So we had just plywood bases that we put some carpeting over. We had, the Recaro racing seat that you can order on Amazon. And you plugged it in and then just bolted all these just different hardware pieces that were commercially available. So as an instructor, I can either look on it here on our instructor station, I can over the shoulder, but better yet is I'm recording it all. I record everything, I go pause, and then I can just play back. I drag this up on the screen, I say, hey, here's that root cause of what happened here. Let's do this instructional fix, and let's try it again.
My next stop was with Link Leach, who flew both the MC-12 and the C-17 and has been instructing in the T-6 for the last 7 years.
Here we've got the ITDs. We'll kind of show you how we've been using them to help with pilot training and get the students to fly better. Cool, so right here is an example of one of the briefing clips that we'll use to kind of show the student what a maneuver looks like before we even go fly it. So right now my cross check is on my airspeed. I'm gonna hold him just to about where that horizon starts to go from light to blue, and now I'm gonna bring that power back to maintain 190. Here, Hazard, this is what you're gonna do as far as maintain that stable rejoin of the positive overtake picture, 195. About an aspect that looks just like this, and you're going to kind of hold it there. Once we get to about where he is the size of these two bolts right here, we're going to start to pull that power a little bit. I want backstick trim on your part so we can get back to about 190 and stabilize en route. And that's a T6 rejoin.
All right, let's do it.
Cool.
So we hopped into the ITD where I started in close formation with Slayer, who was in another T6. The next stop was with Rek Reichert, who is a KC-10 pilot before becoming a T-6 instructor pilot. Rek was then able to show us what they're working on in terms of a virtual walk-around. It's not the coolest looking device, but typically pilots only get one demo on the walk-around before they're expected to be proficient on it. And by using VR, it allows them to have a higher fidelity mental model than just pictures, which will hopefully accelerate their learning.
Same type of setup from out there, two students on the inside on a mixed reality headset, and then instructor station sitting here, T1A. They'll run through their profile. Each one will be about 3 to 4 hours long. So here, they just finished their first half of their sim, so they're coming in for their second half. So students will go ahead and swap seats as far as left seat versus right seat. There's a debate whether or not full motion is going to add to training in a meaningful way. My hypothesis as far as what's going on, if we're not going to use an actual airplane to train them, we need to introduce as much realism as possible. And motion is one way to continue to incorporate that realism as far as turbulence, wind shear, crosswinds, especially engine out considerations type of stuff. When we start doing OEI type training, operations, engine and operative type training, you're going to feel that yaw much more in this device than you would in obviously a device that doesn't move.
My next stop, we met with Liz Brookhouse, who is a cognitive performance specialist, where she was able to run me through some of the training that they give new pilots.
All right, so what we're going to work on today is a little bit of hand-eye coordination and response inhibition. So the task that we're going to be doing today is a go, no-go task. Again, talking about making really good decisions as things move along quickly. This is important when we think about how you keep up with the jet that you're flying. So the test that we're going to be doing today is about 30 seconds long. You're going to see these targets pop up on the screen. We want to make sure that we're hitting the yellow targets and avoiding the red targets. The key with this task, though, is that multiple targets will populate at once, so you have to really manage the task as you move along.
What's an average score on this?
Well, I can tell you I got 30 on the last round, so we'll try to beat 30. All right, and time.
You said 30 was average. All right. I don't believe you.
Yeah. So here it gives you your overall aggregate score, and we can actually look at your detailed statistics, which I think is really cool. This is how we start to tailor the training that we do. So it breaks it up even into quadrants. So we know that you're actually pretty good in your upper left-hand quadrant here, and pretty poor in your upper right-hand quadrant. So what that tells us is that when we tailor the training on this station, we want to make sure that maybe, especially at first, we're giving you more information in your upper right-hand quadrant so that we're tailoring training to those weaknesses.